The big shoutouts to him, he's doing a great job so far.
Very, very true. And here we go with our very first game right after this. And dear Elmo, we are situated on Akelon Waste.
Yeah, we're currently still sitting in the loading screen. Cass apparently is having some troubles. His hamster apparently it doesn't want to run anymore.
Yeah,
But
both players.
everyone should be done loading here very, very shortly. And then we can start the game.
Yeah, both players from the Ukraine. And of course here, spawning in the bottom right side, we have our red Terran player, who goes by the name of Empire Cass.
And in the opposing corner we are looking at the blue Protoss player. This is a Poison TV first, because that is none other than Whitera.
The legend himself playing here. One of the oldest pro gamer in the European scene, and I think even on the world, I have to say, and always a very nice person. If you follow his channel on YouTube, he gives a very, very cool and many advice videos, and there are many, many quotes you can actually learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Whitera is known to be one of the most polite players out there in the Starcraft universe, but also he's playing a phenomenal Starcraft. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys out there are familiar with Whitera, and if you are not, then you should probably ask yourself, what are you doing in life? Of course, on the other end of the map, we also see Cass, who is at least as well known as Whitera. I mean, he's also a phenomenal player. We all know that. He's, let's say, one of the best Terrans in Europe at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, if that game does not get epic, I don't know what will else.
Yeah, very true. I think, especially if we have a look at the European, the Russian European scene, we have a very many very strong Terran players, and Kaz is definitely one of the best to mention. And yeah, let's see what he is actually planning to go for. As we see, quite early gas, so it seems he's gonna go for the Reaper opener.
That would make perfectly sense. He's currently waiting on the 50 gas. We go, Reaper is now being produced. On the other side, we see Whitera so far rolling with only one gas. Will add on eventually the gateway and the cybernetics core, which is situated in a kind of weird position. You usually don't see that a player throws down his buildings right there. But I'm sure, since this is Whitera, he's putting some deeper thought into his building placement, so maybe it eventually will just make sense, but at the moment it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be weird, but I have to say, maybe it's just in range for the Photonova shot whenever there might be even a drop coming out. Therefore, just at the right place here, where the medevac can actually only fly through it and then actually drop on, behind these structures. So we will see if this actually turn out to be too important later on. We do see a little bit of a move out of with the Zealot, but also the Reaper now on the way here at the natural base, and the Stalker should be able to scare this away.
Yeah, he should be able to scare it away, very, very true. But of course that Reaper is extremely, extremely quick, and it gets away, or could later on maybe slip past that Stalker if Whitera is not very careful. But he's actually going to intersect it once again, will bring that Reaper down to 30 HP and will completely chase it away. Zealot of Whitera now entering Cass's natural expansion, who actually threw down his CC on the low ground. That Zealot will take that SCV out with ease and therefore will shut that CC down and will delay it for quite some time. And also Cass currently only having 2 Marines there, and also now with the Stalker of Whitera as reinforcements there, he's going to push up that main ramp, and already a lot of pressure lies onto Cass here. A couple of SCVs are pulled, the Zealot is doing some nice work, but it goes down, and therefore with 4 Marines and a Reaper now, the Stalker, excuse me, should not have too big of a chance here at actually killing off all those units.
Yeah, that was actually a nice trade here for Whitera. Not only did he delay the expansion, he did kill 2 of the workers, and yeah, forced Empire Cast actually to be a little bit more cautious on his choices to go for. So still a very decent opener here for Kaz. He's concentrating now on his marine production, not only to deal against any very small Stalker forces, but also to deal against any air units that might be coming up. Whitera with the Mothership Core here, staying a little bit more defensive and going straight up for his Robo.
Cass is now going to enter the main base of Whitera here with his very first initial Reaper. Of course, that is not going to do much damage. I would even be surprised if he got one worker, because that's just one Reaper and usually they do not do any damage. But the most important thing was the scouting information that he just gathered. Usually you would have to sacrifice a scan for that. But of course now with the Reapers you can just send a Reaper in there and will have pretty much the equal amount of information. Which is always nice to have, but of course, not I say of course, but unfortunately, he actually saw the Robo. Wow, I actually didn't think he would. Never mind then.
Yeah, he did see the Robo and yeah, got enough information here, and not just seeing the robotics bay though, so might waste a scan later on. And yeah, Cast is a little bit of supply bugged at the moment. This is a little sloppy play, but of course investing this into into the upgrades here directly afterwards. So he will be in quite good shape. He's gonna go and get the Medivacs as fast as possible, so he can actually go for a move out.
Absolutely. Whitera also now going to work on those third base rocks, so eventually he's planning on expanding towards this third base location. Same thing should also go for Cass very shortly here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a CC coming down within the next, let's say, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Just because that's the usual timing for Terran player to go for their third CC. If he's actually planning on doing so, of course he could go for a 2-base all-in or something fishy like that. But I wouldn't expect Cass to do anything like that.
Yeah, I think Echo and Waste is a great map actually to go for expansions. But yeah, as you're saying, he's actually delaying this by quite a bit, and therefore Empire Cast might just get even more Marines right now. Oh, and look at that! He will be trying to go for a double dropper here.
And Whitera does not see that. His observer is just outside of vision range of those two medevacs, so he pretty much is in the dark about this drop, but eventually there is one worker moving towards this potential 5th base and might eventually see those medevacs incoming.
Oh,
Great scout for Whitera there, that is very important.
wow.
And that will already save him a lot of hassle here in dealing with that drop.
Yeah, even cancelling the pylon here, but Empire Cast is aware of this. So he will be taking out the pylon. That is actually quite good for any counter aggressions later on, but not with Chaos, as he is just now moving out with tons and tons of Marines. We do have that one Colossi though. This is so important, and Whitera actually not having really a lot of units. He's only having one sentry, and this one sentry is so important now.
Yeah, it definitely has to throw down key force fields or the Guardian Shield. Also, luckily for Whitera, +1 is just about to finish, so if it really comes to a big engagement, he will be on equal upgrades. The drop is now entering the main base. Whitera sees that, of course, with that palm. There is one Colossus to deal with those units. They will get picked up, and Whitera pushes the drop away, of course, at the same time. Units are moving into the natural, but that's just 2 Marines and a Marauder. They immediately walk away. A drop attempt is also now happening in the natural, but Whitera, of course, once again reacting very quickly here to deal with that very effectively.
Great defense here by Whitera so far, having the observers just in the right position, seeing exactly the movement here of Kaz, and yeah, he shows yet again how strong his defense play is. Dropping down the 3rd base, and should be no, he's not knowing about the 3rd base here of Kaz, but seeing that kind of little pressure we've seen from Kaz here so far, he should be aware of that coming down.
Cass is now also once again going to go into the 3rd base of Whitera. The Nexus is already planted there. That should be cancelled. Whitera gets the cancel in the last moment possible there. Colossus, excuse me, are doing some nice amounts of damage, but of course the medevac will evacuate the most part of those units out of there. I cannot speak. Of course, that is already buying Cass once again some nice time, who is now going to continuously drop into the main here. So he's really putting some pressure onto Whitera here, but Whitera, of course, still is in a very nice position with his units currently sitting inside the main base here, so he should be able to deal with that quite effectively.
Yes, and a little bit of energy being wasted, but he has to be careful. He doesn't want to cancel the third base yet again. He is actually defending here quite well, and Caster needs to retreat here for the moment. A big part, a chunk of his army actually being out there. So Whitera not having the potential for going for any counter aggression so far. And the third base is pretty much defended by these bar units, but we're gonna see yet another double drop here.
Yeah, Cass once again sending out 2 medevacs here, so he's relentlessly dropping Whitera at all the multiple bases that Whitera is currently mining or will very shortly start to mining at. Those medevacs
Oh.
most likely will enter the natural. At the same time, Cass's main army is moving out of the natural, and he has a lot of stuff. Looking at the army supplies, it's currently 83 to 70 in favor of Cass there. Cass also with +1/+1 upgrades, +2/+2 on the way, whereas Whitera sitting on +2 attack at the moment. So I guess that should equal itself out eventually.
Yes, very true. And he sees yet again the drop, and oh, the High Templars are in position. Will they get their feedbacks? Oh, he
Oh,
had. I
great
think he
turnaround there
was
by
in
Cass.
range. I
I'm
think he
not
was in
sure if
range.
those... Anyways, uh, Cass once again loading into the medevacs here will drop the third base. Whitera so far has no clue if that will now move a huge part of his army down there to deal with this, but he will lose at least a couple of workers. The units eventually will be evacuated out of there again with the medevacs. And Cass is doing some nice damage actually there without really taking too many losses.
Very, very true. Cass is actually dominating the game so far. Yeah, heavily macroing behind this. So he has a 166 to 140 supply difference. But having so many warp gates here for Voyager, that is, he has a big potential to actually be, yeah, maxing out very, very fast. And there's a little bit of a run by, but Cass is in position to deal with this. So he will kill off the Zealots in the end.
Yeah, this level's got like 2 workers and a mule. That's not too bad. Of course, it's not an equal trade, but that mule, getting that is already very, very nice for Whitera. He has to do at least some damage to equalize the game again. I mean, he's not really behind by any means. He's on equal basis. Really, the only thing he's lacking are currently the probes. Cass is actually an equal worker count. And you gotta keep in mind, he has 3 OCs, so mules are a possibility. Because of that, Whitera is now going to move out. I'm not sure. Storm, yeah, Storm is already done here for him, so he should be able to Storm. And if the Storm lands properly, then he really can do a lot of damage, of course. Cass is already transitioning into the Ghost play, but they have not enough energy so far to cast an EMP. So maybe if Whitera acts very, very quickly here, he could catch Cass without EMPs here. That would be huge.
Oh yeah, I think you're completely right. This is something he might be baiting to do so, but I don't like the position actually for Whitera. He needs to split out his army. He doesn't want to get EMPs on the High Templars.
Oh, look at those EMPs, absolutely completely hitting everything. Only one ghost with energy left, but there is no more AoE for Whitera here. This is already not looking good for the Ukrainian Protoss, and Cass is now picking up a lot of momentum, is going to chase down that army, will take out the remaining Templars, and is now pushing across the map. We have currently 180 to 120 supply in favor of the Terran player here. He's now going to most likely push into the natural and try to do as much damage as possible. Whitera at the moment not having really too many units, and he's under a huge amount of pressure.
Very true. He needs great engagements. He needs a High Templar to get some storms. But the Mothership Core gets sniped here very, very easily. Doesn't want to fight in the open
Ooh.
space as well. Giving Empire Cast actually nice little extra damage. And here we go. He's just going forward. He knows he has the advantage. And he's just ripping apart the army from Whitera.
Yeah, but Cass was doing a little mistake there. He was actually not attacking. He was right-clicking up that ramp. But still, he just has an overwhelming army. Will clean up the remainings of Whitera's army. Will now take out that natural nexus, and we might see a GG very soon. There is, however, one Colossus spawning for Whitera, but I'm pretty sure that will not be enough to win him this game. Natural goes down, therefore Whitera only now on a 2-base economy, and that army is still pushing strong.
Yes, very true. Cass with the right timing, having the 2-2 upgrades there as well. And well played, being called here by Whitera.
Very well done there by Cass. Takes game number 1 of this best of 3 series, I think.
Yeah, I think
If I'm not
that you're
completely
right.
mistaken. So we will have our game number 2 right pretty much in a couple of minutes here. And while we are waiting for that, I want to quickly answer some questions of the chat here. Apparently people seem to have some lag issues, but I don't think it's on our side. I guess it's just either your connection or it's just Twitch acting a fool again. I mean, we had a lot of issues with Twitch as of lately, so it's probably Twitch. Unfortunately, we're currently no Twitch partners, so we are unable to provide you with a quality select thingamajig there in the bottom of the stream. We are currently working on that, but we definitely need your support to be able to do that. So if you're enjoying our casting so far, do click that follow button. It helps us out a lot, and eventually we might be able to become Twitch partners because of that.